And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK. Today is Friday, July 31st, 2026. And the Buck and I are with y'all for the next 2 hours on today's show. Plenty of football. We will recap Big Ten Conference Media Days. Give some thoughts on Indiana coach Curt Cignetti taking a shot at the SEC. Is he right? We will debate. Texas football fall camp starts next week. We will continue our preview, things that we are looking for from the Longhorns once they take the field for the first time this fall. We've got some recruiting conversations to get into as a five-star running back. That is, of course, a Texas target. Will announce his decision tomorrow. Plenty of NFL conversations, some sound from D'Amico Ryans. Big storylines around the NFL, including the latest on Baker Mayfield's contract situation in Tampa. We've got the BBK news. We've got why today's not so bad. We've got tons of sports and fun to dive into here on a Friday. Happy Friday to each and every one of you out there. We appreciate y'all starting your weekends off with us. And a happy Friday to you, my man. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous, man. How about yourself? You doing okay? Travel's good?
Travels are good. Headed back to the ATX tonight. Looking forward to being home. Appreciate you asking.
Welcome back to hell. Hot as hell.
It's going to feel like that stepping off the plane tonight. I don't land until like 11 o'clock, but I already
It'll still
know.
Be 90.
Yep. I already know that it's going to be pretty miserable like the second I step foot off the plane. Even in the little jetway or whatever you call that thing, it's going to be rough, and it'll be a nice welcome back to the city I love so much.
Yeah, it's just hot. It's July. That's all. That's all I can say. Hopefully there'll be some rain possibly tomorrow. Got like a 45% chance, but I'll just tell you, chances are slim. I'll say that. If something spits on you, you're lucky, because the chances are there's at least a chance. But for me, that's not a chance. A chance is 80% or more now these days. So
talking about someone spitting on me, I don't want Jalen Carter on my flight home or anything like that.
Hopefully he will not be on your flight, but it'll be hot. But you know what? The humidity is going to be down as we get in next week. So the humidity will be down. It's going to feel cooler. Feels like it's going to be better than it's been. That's not good enough.
No, I'll take your word for it, but it ain't good enough. But it'll be August, tomorrow's the first day of August. It's how it goes. It's nothing new. And I always think about the football players and the marching bands. And I'm not just talking about the Longhorns, right? All these high school kids that are going to be outside a bunch starting up soon. Like, that's just, thoughts and prayers to y'all for having to bear this every single day.
Yeah, tuba guy and tuba gal with the tubas carting around the parking lot, the asphalt of the parking lots there. Not everybody has a fill. A lot of people are on the asphalt. That's got to suck.
Yep, the tubas, the French horns, the bassoons, the people who've got the giant drum that they wear over their chest, like if you're the triangle guy or gal, you got it okay. But if you got a real instrument, then
you're playing the flute. You're playing the flute. You're good. The clarinet. You're good.
Yeah,
you're good to go.
You've always been a skin flute guy. That's your favorite instrument, correct?
I'm a fluter for sure. No doubt about it. Good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you very much. Rain or shine or sun or humidity, you are there for us. We do appreciate it. And to you and your families, please be safe out there, please.
Yes, indeed. Well said, as always. Well, we'll start today's show talking some college football. And Mr. Google Me. Yeah. Curt Cignetti has made some more headlines with something that he said earlier this week in Chicago at his appearance for Big Ten Media Days. Obviously, Indiana, the defending national champions. A lot of folks, myself included, believe Curt Cignetti should be considered the best coach in college football. Everybody knows Indiana was awful forever. Cignetti, in just his second year in Bloomington, leads IU to a 16-0 season, a national championship, and obviously they had the Heisman winner and the number one overall pick at quarterback with Fernando Mendoza. At this point, Curt Cignetti doesn't need much of an introduction. Well, look, he's never been shy in front of a microphone. And he was asked a question about whether or not the Big Ten is the best conference in college football. That continues to be a big debate. Who's better, the Big Ten or the SEC? Obviously, the Big Ten has won the last 3 national championships. SEC folk are still staunch in their beliefs that the Southeastern Conference is the best league in the sport. Well, here was Curt Cignetti talking about the Big Ten being the best conference in college football.
The Big Ten is the best league in football, and a lot of really good football teams. It's hard to win on the road. Very physical football teams, very well coached. It definitely prepares you for the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, we don't run a hype machine up here in the Midwest. We believe everything's earned, not given. And when we fall short, we say we fell short. We don't cry a river, whine, and complain. All right? And that's why we're the best.
Well, you really over the course of a long stretch of time didn't have to whine. You just were no good. You're just getting your butts beat. So now you're on a little bit of a streak, so be careful there. And take it, enjoy it. But there's no reason to whine. You weren't any good. You weren't any good versus SEC or anybody else that you played 10 years ago. That's just the way it was. I don't know what there is about whining. I don't think the SEC whines. They've been the dominant force for a long, long time. Now, over the last 3 years, going on 4 years, they have struggled. They are not, you can call it top to bottom or whatever it is, top heavy or whatever it is, but I'd love to still be playing. I'd rather be playing Minnesota than Mississippi State or South Carolina. I'd rather be playing some of those things. I'd rather be playing Northwestern if I'm a coach. But you've got the mantle right now. Just wear it. Google him. You're right. The best. That guy's one of the best as there is right now. He's got it going on. We'll just see about this year. This is a new year.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, he wasn't afraid to talk before he got the job at Indiana. So no surprise at all that he's more willing to talk louder and take more shots now that he's accomplished what he's accomplished. A couple of thoughts there. Look, I would like Curt Cignetti to be humbled. Like, I'm not an SEC homer. I don't really care about the Big Ten versus SEC debate. I just want Texas to be good. Every other team in this league could go 0-12 for all I care. I know that's not mathematically possible, but I don't root for the conference. I didn't understand that when Texas was in the Big 12. I couldn't figure out why SEC people rooted for the entire league as much as they did. Felt like they took pride in their big rivals winning championships just because they were in the same conference. It's like, if you're an Auburn fan, you're really happy that Alabama's winning a national title because they're in the SEC. Seriously? I never understood that bit at all. And even being in the conference for a couple of years, I just don't really care about the success of the other 15 teams in this league. But I would still like Curt Cignetti to be humbled. That has nothing to do with the Big Ten versus SEC.
Yeah, that dude needs to be slowed down a bit, doesn't he?
I know. And to this point, he hasn't been. There has been whining out of the SEC. Curt Cignetti didn't mention SEC, Southeastern Conference. Everybody knew what he was talking about. Yes. But he's right. There has been some whining this offseason, Buck, and most of it has been in relation to the SEC moving to a 9-game conference schedule. I mean, we talked about a lot of coaches around this league last week in Tampa were complaining about, we now have a tougher path to the college football playoff, and we just made life harder on ourselves. And the Big Ten, look, the bottom of the Big Ten's worse than the bottom of the SEC, but the Big Ten's been playing a 9-game conference schedule for years. So in their eyes, they can easily say, we've been doing this for a long time. Welcome to the party. Why are you guys bitching and moaning so much? This is what we do. This is what we're all about. So there has been some whining there in this conference and some excuse making in this conference. So I would like to see Curt Cignetti humbled, but some of the things that he said, I don't think are completely untrue.
Yeah, well, the commissioner of the SEC has been pushing about the conference because he's been the king. He's been on top for so long. He's been pushing about the toughness of the conference, and the 9-game schedule is, like you said, is right. But the coaches are now pissed about the 9-game schedule. Once they got to media day, they let the commissioner have his way with giving you a 9-game schedule. But once they got there, then they were like, I hate this.
Right.
Who are we kidding here?
And it was some of them, right? I remember Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou was, I think, the first to go and the first to complain. But then you had John Summerall at Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, I'm a coach in the SEC. I'm not going to complain about anything. Like, we knew it was going to be tough. That's why I'm here. So but the funny thing is, you look at all these SEC schedules, right? The SEC, I think, is a deeper conference. And the SEC also has that rule where one of your non-conference games has to be against a Power 4 team or Notre Dame. I mean, you look at Indiana's schedule, like there is not a team in the SEC that has a first 5 games as easy as Indiana has. They've got North Texas, Howard, Western Kentucky, Northwestern, all at home. And then their first road game is against the almighty Rutgers, Buck.
Wow.
So it's like, the scheduling is not the same. And that's a big problem with college football. Now, the Big Ten, Indiana plays enough good teams to where they'll earn their spot in the playoff. But it's like, you don't see that in the SEC.
Yeah, well, they talk about it as if it's week in and week out.
Yeah.
They're playing. Yeah, that's when Cincinnati was talking, it sounded like every week they've got to be prepared for somebody. I'm like, who? Who are you preparing for? Illinois? Northwestern? Come on, cut us a break now.
Right. So, look, it's a big year for the SEC. It's something you and I have talked about before. Like,
got to beat Ohio State.
It doesn't – the SEC could get 6 teams in the playoff, which would be more than any conference has ever had. They could get 3 teams in the semifinals out of a possible 4. But if the Big Ten wins another national championship,
oh yeah,
the national perception is still going to be that the Big Ten is the best conference in college football. So yeah, the Texas-Ohio State game in week 2, the Longhorns have an early chance to make a statement. Oklahoma plays at Michigan in week 2. That's another
true.
statement for the SEC. I don't really want Oklahoma to win that game because I don't root for Oklahoma, but the reality is that is a opportunity for the SEC to prove something. But at the end of the day, Buck, what really matters is whether or not an SEC team can once again win a national championship, because that's what Gen Pop views makes the best conference in college football.
Well, hell, at least get into the final game. It's been a while.
You're right. They haven't even been to a national championship game. It's not only the SEC hasn't won a title in 3 years, they haven't had a team even play for the game in 3 years.
Yeah, when LSU becomes like Minnesota, we talk about all this talent. And over the last couple of years, they've been like Minnesota and teams like that. They haven't been as bad as Michigan State, but who knows? But they're not the same LSU. That's why this is that's why Lane Kiffin. I mean, that's why the pressure's on that dude at LSU, because that group really has not held up the mantle lately.
Right. Well, look, I mean,
they have a couple national. It's been a while, but they just haven't had regular seasons that have been very good.
No, they haven't, and neither is Florida. I mean, there's been some blue blood type of teams that have been a bit down in the SEC. That's just natural. It's cyclical. That's kind of how college football works. But again, LSU can make the playoff. Great. Florida can get hot, make the playoff, just using them as an example. Great. But the thing that I think most people care about is a national championship. So I think there are only 2 teams in the SEC that are legitimately good enough to win a national title, and that's Texas and that's Georgia. So I think there's going to be a lot of Paul Feinbaum viewers, a lot of SEC fanboys, and honestly, Greg Sankey himself in the SEC office that's like really pulling for the Longhorns in Georgia to find a way to get it done. So, because that's going to help with negotiations too. I mean, everybody knows the SEC and the Big Ten are far and away ahead of every other league.
Yes.
But, it feels like the Big Ten has kind of won the sort of battles on rule changes in college football in recent years, and people think they have a better leg to stand on because of the success that they've had. I think that would help the SEC kind of reclaim its spot at the very head of the table if somebody wins a national championship in football this year.
Well, they're going to get what they want if they win another one this year. When it comes to how many playoff teams are we talking about? They're going to get their 24. That whole deal is going to, and it's going to go in their favor. That's how important a year this is for the SEC.
It's just crazy to me, like that the way we view, you don't get this in professional sports at all, but like we view every team the exact same, regardless of what their schedule is. Steve Sarkisian made that point when talking about Texas Tech earlier this offseason. It's like, I'm looking at the Longhorns' first 5 games. I don't even think Texas has the first or the toughest first 5-game slate in the country. But Texas has Texas State, Ohio State, UTSA, at Tennessee, and Oklahoma. You've got 3 ranked teams in there. You've got maybe the number 1 team in the country in there. You've got a neutral site game against a top 10 team in there.
Right.
And then you've got Indiana with North Texas, Howard, Western Kentucky, Northwestern, and Rutgers to open up the year. And
Rutgers.
yet
that's their starting Big Ten game.
No, Northwestern is their starting Big Ten
I'm sorry
game.
about that. Yes.
Yeah, Rutgers is their first road game. So it's crazy that these, like, if Indiana had Florida's schedule from last year, they probably still make the playoff, but like it definitely helps when you play weaker teams. You don't have to get guys as tired. You don't have to hurt guys as much. Like when you get easier wins, that I think prepares you for a better run in the college football playoff. And to Indiana's credit, they benefited from it. But
yeah, I got nothing against Signetic except for it's time for somebody to stop that train. They're never going back to where they were. They just got too much money now. They've got too much publicity and they've got too many titles. They're doing everything that they need to do. That guy's not going from that place anytime soon, unless they just become Indiana again.
Well, I think under him, it'd be hard to bet against that. So I don't know. I'm sitting here saying I don't care that much.
Coaching staff. I think his staff is pretty good too.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting here saying I don't really care about the Big Ten SEC stuff, and here I am rambling about the Big Ten SEC stuff. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. Any Big Ten hot takes? Their conference media days have wrapped up. Anything you learned? Any opinion that you have about that league coming out?
I think the question for me is, what is Michigan going to be like? I know OU's got them early. That's a big game for both conferences too, just like the Ohio State Texas game. But what is it that Michigan? There's nothing to that defense that made me think that they're going to be outstanding again. You know, it's almost like them starting from scratch. You know, they got a young quarterback. That how quickly did he mature? I don't know. I didn't see any signs of anything great because the players around him, you know, they had a decent running game. They had a decent offensive line, but are they any good on defense? Can they stop anybody?
Yeah, obviously a lot of changes with Michigan. Kyle Whittingham coming over. And again, they've got the opportunity to send a message that they are once again a legit contender in the grand scheme of things against Oklahoma in game 2. Now, I know some Texas fans will scoff at that and say, oh, beating Oklahoma doesn't mean anything. But that would be a big statement for Kyle Whittingham in just his second game if they're able to win that. So, yeah,
he will want them to bring some physicality like he did at Utah. You know, even when they played the big boys, they played physical in those type of games. So what kind of team would they be? Are they going to be a finesse team? Or they're going to want to run the ball? They're going to try to get back to the Michigan ways of run, downhill with a couple running backs. I want to see if what kind of change that there'll be offensively with them, or will Kyle Whittingham be the same guy he's always been?
Right. Well, Michigan, when I think Michigan football, I do think grounded pound. I think trying to win up front, and I don't think that's going to change because that kind of feels like the kind of coach that Kyle Whittingham is too. So they got their leading rusher back in Jordan Marshall. They brought in a couple of really highly touted running backs on the recruiting trail as well. Bryce Underwood, the big story, the $10 million man going into his second year. Look, he's a true sophomore, but he started every game for the Wolverines last season. So he's got a lot of experience under his belt.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything that was really, really bad about him, but I didn't see anything that was great. You know what I mean? I just think he's like a guy, like a work in progress, but it's not that I'm thinking, oh, he's really going to jump out this year at you. You know, there was nothing to show you that.
Well, I don't know. I think the talent's there. I think there were flashes there, but he was inconsistent. He looked like a freshman, and I don't think his head coach was very good. And obviously the way that thing ended was a total disaster. So, big year for Bryce Underwood. I mean, they're expecting him to take a step. I think Michigan fans believe that they should be back in the college football playoff discussion this year. Now, I don't think they're as good as Ohio State or Oregon or Indiana at the top of the league, but could they potentially be the 4th team in the Big Ten? And could the Big Ten get 4 teams into the college football playoff? Those are conversations that I believe are worth having. I don't know. I think they'll be all right.
Michigan State will be Michigan State. They won't be any good again.
No, I don't even want to talk about them.
Yeah, no.
A couple of things. I mean, we've talked about Lincoln Riley. It's a huge year for him at USC.
Yeah, and Nebraska.
Is it ever a huge year for Nebraska anymore?
No, it isn't. They'll be borderline. A good year for them is 8 wins.
Right.
The way Nebraska is now, they'll take that and be happy with it.
I think Lincoln Riley's got to make the college football playoff to save his job. I think Matt Rule can go 8-4 and he'll be just fine there. I don't think Nebraska's on that level. Are you picking Nebraska to make a run this year? You buying into Matt Rule?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I think Washington, I mentioned it earlier this week, they're a dark horse team that I think can make a run at a college football playoff. I'm curious to see how Pat Fitzgerald does at Michigan State. Longtime coach at Northwestern who had a lot of success. He got screwed there in Evanston. Now he's back in the Big Ten. He's got a ton of work to do because Michigan State is absolutely terrible. But
this will be his last year if he can't do anything at Wisconsin.
Yeah, the Big Ten could have an SEC kind of coaching carousel after this year. There's a lot of coaches that I think enter this season on a very, very hot seat that need to have success. I'd put Mike Loxley at Maryland on that list too.
And I don't know how he's still there.
All right. Lincoln Riley, Matt Rule could be there. It seems like Minnesota's okay with PJ Fleck. Brett Bielema's been talking a lot, and he's still eating a lot, clearly. He's another coach, by the way, who took a shot at the SEC this week.
He always does. He always will.
Which is so funny to me because that guy coached in the SEC and was awful. Could not win. Could not beat anybody in this league.
He was at Arkansas.
And he's had 2 Big Ten jobs, and he's had success at both, like all things considered. And the one stint he had in the SEC, he got eaten for lunch.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't have used that expression with talking about him. But, yeah, I don't know. A lot of guys in the Big Ten that I think are coaching for their jobs this year. But I do believe there's a clear-cut top 3, and everybody else is kind of playing for 4th place. But the battle between Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana, again, I believe all 3 of them are playoff teams. But who ends up winning that conference is going to be worth paying attention to for sure. All right. We'll take your thoughts. The Coda text line, 512-222-9328. Are you buying what Curt Cignetti is selling? The Big Ten, the best conference in college football, and SEC is making a bunch of excuses and whining and complaining. Well, Curt Cignetti gets to drink a Mai Tai and play Howard in week 2.
Poor Howard. They're going to get steamrolled.
Yeah.
He'll run up 80 on them. It may be a game at a Hyundai.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. All right, we'll get into some Longhorn football conversation, the position rooms we feel best and worst about heading into fall camp. We've got some NFL chatter to dive into as well. We'll go around the league and get to some big training camp headlines. But before we go any further, how about our first round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, if you got problems with your knees, ankles, hips, shoulders, you need to call the folks at Texas Orthopedics. If you feel like surgery is the thing that you want to do, they'll let you know because they do rehabilitation there. But when it comes to surgery, they are the absolute very best. Their physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adults. But rehab is very important with them. Spinal care, sports medicine, of course, joint replacement. Dr. Danny, Dr. Stockton are 2 guys there, 2 dedicated orthopedic surgeons, which they have many of. Their goal is to get you right back into good health and great quality of life that you deserve. Now, Texas Orthopedics is the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas. For more information, don't forget, they have rehab work there too. It's not always about the surgery. For more information, please go to txortho.com.
Yes, indeed. Love to Texas Orthopedics. Also, a shout out to our friends at centextickets.com, the best place to get tickets to any live event coming to Central Texas. They've already got plenty of Longhorn tickets available on site right now. Home games, away games, neutral site games, it doesn't matter. If you want to watch the Horns play this fall, Centex Tickets is the place you need to go to find your seats. Plus concerts, comedy shows, Broadway shows, festivals, ACL Music Festival not too far away. Of course, F1 will be back at Coda in the fall as well. They've got tickets for any big event. Buy 1, buy 10, it doesn't matter. They're going to hook you up with 10% off. All you have to do is use the promo code CENTEX10 at checkout. And just like that, you will get 10% off of any ticket purchase from our great friends at centextickets.com.
Say hello, Jay and the gang over at Sue Patrick, of course, with the incredible selection of Longhorn apparel, hats. They've got the caps. They got the T-shirts. They've got sneakers. They got luggage. They have it all at Sue Patrick. A wide variety of men's and women's clothing in all sizes. I saw some 3Xs over there last time. So if you're sporting a little bit of extra, like Coach at Illinois, you've got a little extra poundage on you, they have got the tents over at Sue Patrick just for you. They offer free shipping on online orders of $59 or more, free curbside pickup. Jelly Cats have been stocked there, and plenty of parking space at 5222 Burnett Road, of course. And soon, hey, the schedule glasses will be out, and we'll be over there doing a show. Love the new schedule glasses. Told my wife I'm getting 6 of them so that they stand there right there at the cabinet. When you open up the cabinet, there's the schedule right there. She goes, "You're only going to use one forever." I'm like, "Yes, I will. I'll put my drink in there, my protein shake. I'll pour it into that glass and enjoy it." We love Sue Patrick. For more information, 50 years of service at Sue Patrick. For more information, please go to SuePatrick.com.
Yeah, I'm not letting you move past some of the comments that you made a moment ago.
Fat. Was I mentioning fat? I just said they had XXX. I saw 3Xs on a couple polos.
Well, you did say if you've got some extra poundage on you, which that's not bad, but then you said they've got the tents for you at Sue Patrick.
Oh.
And I don't think they sell camping tents there. Could be wrong. I don't believe they sell camping gear at Sue Patrick. So are you saying big people?
So the Fighting Illini coach.
That guy has probably eaten a tent before.
I saw him wear those like sweat deals instead of a shirt. He wears the plastic gear during the wintertime on the sideline. And it looks like, I mean, if you just shoot some air underneath that armpit, that dude's going to take off.
Oh man, that is great.
I don't like body shaming. I'm not that guy.
No, you just do it all the time, but you don't like doing it, which that's an important distinction there. I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're calling him a hot air balloon. You're saying just put like some air in the right spot and it'll just take off and go.
That would be so cool to see him float around Alumni Stadium there in Champaign.
That would be. I hope he gets fired like that. Like that's the way they just kick him out of Champaign, is via his own self as a hot air balloon.
He's okay. Just win 8. Hey, it's the Big Ten. Anybody can win 8, I believe.
It's the Big Ten, man. It is the Big Ten. All right, let's talk about the SEC. Let's bring things home to Austin and talk some Texas football.
Oh my goodness, Jay says they even got 4X. I don't remember. They got a 4X size. Wow.
All right.
Thank you.
What's the wow? Are you surprised at the great customer service and selection at Sue Patrick?
I got to believe that 4X is in probably a T-shirt, though. And they got some great T-shirts. They schedule T-shirts.
Okay. The tent T-shirts.
No, that's 4X is a billboard.
4X is a billboard.
Yeah.
So 3X is a tent. 4X is a billboard.
Yeah, that's got to be a billboard.
But don't forget, y'all, Bucky does not like body shaming.
I do not.
It's important to remember here on
I'm
Friday.
Against that.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's talk some Texas football as we continue our fall camp preview. Of course, that gets going next week. The players will report on Tuesday, and practice will get going shortly after that. Let's talk about what we feel good about and what we don't feel so good about going into camp. We'll start with the offensive side of the football, Buck. Give me a position room that you don't have a lot of questions about going into camp, and then the position room on that side of the football that you have the most questions about going into camp.
Well, I mean, I'll always have a question about what happens if the backup quarterback has to come in. Who is the backup quarterback? Is he going to be good enough if you need that backup for 2 games, not just to finish out a game, but an ankle that's going to not get you back in the game for the starter, but it's going to go into the next week. Is there somebody in there that can handle 2 games? That's all I need, because anything after 2 games, you got a problem with anyway.
Yeah,
we have a problem if there's anything after 2 games. So, and that's on most teams.
I was going to say, I hope you don't need 2 games out of KJ Lacey, right? But yeah, anything beyond that, and then it's season's over, like you said, for any team in college football, especially nowadays with the NIL and the transfer portal. Like guys aren't guys aren't always willing to sit around for 3 years to wait their turn. Guys are looking for their opportunities to play. So, yeah, no one has the depth that they used to have really across the field, but especially in the quarterback room. Now, I will say this about Texas, at least according to Phil Steele, the Longhorns have the number 2 quarterback room in college football in 2026. Now, most of that is weighed by Arch Manning and Phil Steele's belief and our belief that Arch Manning is one of the best signal callers in the country. But he believes that Texas has the room, and KJ Lacey is going to be QB2. I don't think there's that much of a position battle there, but obviously, like, we want to know that in case something happens with Arch Manning, there is a guy that, like you said, you can feel good enough about to help you win a game or two, or just make a play. Remember Matthew Caldwell last year? Like, Arch Manning started every game, but he got that concussion late against Mississippi State. Matthew Caldwell, cold off the bench, comes in and throws the game-winning touchdown in overtime to Emmett Mosley. So it might only be that, but that was a huge game for Texas and a huge moment, and your backup was good enough to go get it done. Well, Matthew Caldwell's not here, so do you have that backup in that type of situation who could maybe just make that one throw to help?
You said, even one throw, but
yeah,
when I think of real backup quarterbacks, I think of the guy who comes in for the remainder of the game, or the following week he has to play in the game before the other guy is able to come back. And I don't know if they have that. Well, nobody knows until it happens. So, these won't be, and you're hoping that's something that will end up, if it does happen, it happens round 3 of game 3 or 4 or 5, where you've got some games where a guy has understand he's been on the road, he's been either the backup, he gets a chance to play some ball against those first couple. Well, not in week 2, he's not going to get a chance to play. Yeah. But in week 3 and week 1, he gets a chance to get in the game because the score is high.
Right. Yeah, that's the hope, is that Texas is taking care of business against Texas State 36 days from now.
Sure.
And you could take Arch Manning out of the game early to midway through the third quarter and just let KJ Lacey run it the rest of the way. Because, I mean, he was at Texas last year, year 2 in the system, should know the offense by now, but he threw one pass in 2025. So
not a lot of snaps. He's not in there to hand the ball off. He's in there to throw the ball down the field. Because you and I are like, let's run the score up if we get a chance on teams.
Well, it's not – I don't think it's really a run up the score kind of situation. I think it's you just have to see what you have with him. And I think if it is a blowout, I think G.J. Kinney would understand what Steve Sarkisian's doing. Like, well, we got to see if our backup is ready to go, and we got to give him some real reps and real games just in case we need him for a much closer contest. So
and by the way, Coach Kenny, you're not in this game. You need to play some of your guys to see what your football team is like too, and not get your first string guys hurt in a game like that gets out of hand. Let your other guys play and say they played against Texas, but they're also getting some real experience
for sure
playing against Texas early. That's good for both teams. If they're not getting guys hurt, which, like I said, when I used to watch Texas play Rice, and they used to cart the guys off the field like with stretchers, like the old time stretchers, and bring them off the field for Rice. I used to feel horrible because they used to just crush that group. I'm like, I said, that team's not going to be any good for their season, because they kept playing hard. They kept leaving their starters in. And I'm like, they were like carting starters off left and right, in the offensive line. I'm like, you got a league you got to try to play in. And so and now, of course, Texas State, look at the league they're in.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
They're playing in a power conference this year. They're in the Pac-12 now, Buck.
You're right. They want to show their conference that they can handle it. But no, don't get your guys hurt. Have a good game against the University of Texas. If it gets out of hand, get your starters out, let your other guys play. And hopefully you're hoping that Sark will call off the dogs. But you and I are like, we're letting guys play and we're letting them go.
Well, you call off the dogs when you put your backups in. So I think there's different levels to it. Like when Arch Manning comes out of that game, again, wishful thinking, of course. We thought we were having this conversation about UTEP, and unfortunately Arch had to play the entire game because Texas couldn't pull away the way that we had hoped. But it's calling off the dogs when you take your starters out, but you're not going to run it 30 straight times in the second half. Right. Like you're going to run your offense. You're going to do what you need to do. So,
everybody gets a chance to play. Your backup quarterback, get some experience. So, that's That's the one I worry about that position.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I think the running back room has plenty of guys, BK. They have plenty of people that by the time the season starts, they'll have to know or why are they there, type of things. If the freshman Cooper's ready to go, he's going to get some playing time because he's got the kind of games to get playing time. And those two portal guys, you don't want to get them hurt anyway. I know you want to get them off to great starts, but you can be careful with them. They're not going to want to. Those guys are playing not only for the money they're getting here, they're playing for the next level money too. So they want to be in games and have big numbers against people like, the Road Runners or the Bobcats. They like to have some big numbers themselves in those games.
Right. Well, to wrap up the KJ Lacey thought, I mean, he's had a very good offseason. I want to inform the people that good reports about him in the spring. Got a lot of opportunities with the first team offense because Arch Manning was very limited in the spring.
That's true.
And to this point, it seems like he's done everything that he's needed to do. In Texas, they did go out in the portal and bring in MJ Morris, an experienced quarterback who started a number of games in Division I college football. But I don't think it's a Matthew Caldwell situation where it's like he's the backup. Like the expectation, and we've heard this since way back into the spring, like KJ Lacey's already as a redshirt freshman better than MJ Morse. So that's a good sign. Again, we won't really know until we see him in an actual game. He's thrown one career collegiate pass, but Texas could have gone a little harder in the portal and brought in somebody better than MJ Morris. Or it could be like we're going into fall camp, not really sure who the backup quarterback is going to be.
Right.
But we've got a clear eye on who that guy is. It's just, again, now we'll have to wait and see what.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I'm giving you every position.
No.
As if I'm worried about it. I'll just say that because the original question was which position you're worried about, not the ones that you don't worry about. Well, the obvious one obviously is the offensive line still.
Yeah.
That more so than anybody even thinking of the quarterback, they're going to think of the offensive line first. That involves everybody. That offensive line is all about the run game, the passing game. That helps your defense out. They have to be better. So if everybody's fitting the right way and guys have matured a little bit that are on this football team, this offensive line can't be any worse than they were. I'll say that word again. They just can't be any worse. And I probably should say, and they got to get a whole lot better than they were. I can't just say they have to be average because we're talking about winning a national championship or playing in the playoffs to get to a national championship. You can't just say they got to be a little bit better. Now, they got to be a lot better than they were.
They got to be a lot better. Yeah. You're going glass half empty with they can't be worse, but I'll go glass half full. They've got to be a lot better.
They got to be a lot better. That's exactly right. I've been hanging in there saying they can't be worse, just hoping that they're a little bit better. They got to be a lot better. You're absolutely right. I've been soft selling that whole thing that you can get away because you got better running backs. Your quarterback's a year better, but your offensive line has to get a lot better than they were last year.
Agreed. There's no doubt. And you talk about Arch Manning and talk about all the skill position guys all you want, but if the O-line isn't significantly improved from 2025, then this team's not going to get where they want.
Cluster F. It becomes a cluster F all over again.
Yeah. I'll say, I know I asked you about room, so now I'm going against what I asked you, but there's two positions on the offensive side of the football that I am most curious about going into training camp. First one's left guard. It's on the offensive line. I mean, that was the weakest link of the 2025 Texas offensive line, and there were plenty of weak links up there, but that was their revolving door for the first couple of months of the season, and it was just a massive problem, and that was the biggest reason why the Texas offensive line stunk to high heavens last year. So what do you have at left guard? I mean, you went out and got Lawrence Seymour from Western Kentucky, very experienced, had to appeal to get a 6th year of eligibility. That's how experienced he is. But he was not at Texas in the spring. So Texas hasn't really seen him with the pads on just yet. And Texas is not Western Kentucky, quite a step up in competition. So is he good enough to get it done at this level?
I think his experience will show even at Western Kentucky. He's played a lot of football at that position. I think that'll work out.
Yeah, well, then you got to pay attention to the Cole Hudson situation, which his hearing's scheduled to happen early next week. So is he going to be allowed to play first and foremost, but you're talking about a guy who has a ton of experience, and that experience has been at Texas. He's played in 40-plus games as a Longhorn. So if he's allowed to play, it sounds like, he had some tryouts in the NFL this offseason, so he stayed in shape. He's been working out. It sounds like he's not totally removed from the game to where you're not sure he's going to be physically ready to play this season. But is he allowed to play? And if so, is he your left guard? And then you've got some younger guys waiting in the wing. I mean, Dylan Sikorsky, who you brought in from Oregon State. Is it a Jonte Newman who you brought in? Is it a Jackson Christian? Is it a Jaden Chapman? Is it an Andre Kojo? Like that, I would really like, Buck, because Texas didn't find its answer to that position until game 8 last year. I would really like Texas to have that answer by game 1, and I want that to be the answer for the entire season this time.
Yeah, I know that Kojo, remember, we kept hearing that name, and then all of a sudden that dude disappeared. It was like, does he still play football at Texas?
Well, he tore his ACL during camp last year.
Yeah.
That was why we stopped hearing from him. And he was supposedly right there with Brandon Baker in the right tackle competition. And then when he got hurt, it was like, okay, Baker, I guess he won the job. So I don't know. Again, we're talking about left guard here, so it's a different position than where Kojo was working a season ago. And obviously, you got to wonder if he's fully healthy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of traffic in there. I know you out there on the island, when you're at tackle, but there's a lot of legs and ankles and knees and bodies inside. So that's a little bit different for him.
Right. And so left guard, again, we're not going to have an answer going into camp. It might take the entire month to find out who that guy is, but I really hope. We couldn't figure out why it took Texas so long to make the change that they ultimately did, moving Cole Hudson to left guard and putting Connor Robertson into the starting lineup at center. Whatever decision they decide to make, I hope they get it right in the month of August versus October. And then the other position, Buck, is tight end, right? Like, who's the number one tight end? I think you've got 4 guys who are all going to get snaps this season, with Michael Masunas transferring in from Michigan State, Spencer Shannon, Nick Townsend, and Amari Winston. But, like, who's the guy? Do you have a difference maker there, whether it's in the passing game or just as a run blocker? I saw something the other day. We haven't talked a ton about Michael Masunas. We've spent a lot of time talking about all these other transfers because they were rated a lot higher and they play more premium positions. But I saw some earlier this week, like PFF says Michael Masunas is their highest graded returning power 4 tight end in college football. So it's like, is he a diamond in the rough? Is he this gem that maybe we should have been talking about more? Or is it Spencer Shannon? Again, like, which of these guys emerges? That's another one where, okay, there's a lot of spots on this team. You kind of know who the starter is going to be. Tight end is one. Again, all 4 of these guys are going to contribute, but like, who really steps up and separates from the pack and is the guy?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why when we start talking about tight ends, I don't care, because I think they have enough receivers. I think they have enough people that can run those type of routes. They have enough bodies that can run those type of routes that may be better than the guys at that position. If there was a standout guy or a guy and a half, I would be excited about that. But I'm not excited about the tight end position. I want to know who the best. I know you can't always have a guy who's just a run blocker and a pass catcher. You got to have a guy who can do both. But I want to know who is the devastating run blocker in this run game, if this offensive line is better, that really sets himself apart from the rest of them. Because I don't know, BK. I don't feel like there's any of them that will set themselves apart as a pass catcher.
You might be right. And, Texas has had a tight end drafted in each of the last 3 drafts. We'll see if that streak can continue. But you knew going into last year, Jack Indries was the guy. You knew going into 2024, Gunnar Helm was the guy. You knew going into 2023, Jatavion Sanders was the guy. This year, you don't quite know what you've got. So, yeah, I think the wide receiver number, there's no Brock Bowers on this team. There's not going to be a tight end that's like competing for the team lead in receptions or receiving yards or touchdowns or anything like that. But look, Steve Sarkisian has said the tight end is the second most important position in his offense. He said that multiple times during his Texas tenure. So they're going to be on the field. There's going to be 11 personnel, but there's going to be a lot of 12 personnel where 2 of these guys will be on the field. So, yeah, you talk about the blocking. I think Michael Masunas, that's the biggest reason why Texas brought him in. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. He honestly looks bigger than that. Like, he was a supreme blocker at Michigan State. And then you've got Spencer Shannon, who's 6'7", 250 pounds. So, like, you've got two guys, at least profile-wise, size and stature-wise, seem to do what you're talking about.
Right.
And then you got, I think Nick Townsend has the most potential as a receiving threat at tight end, 6'3", 240. I think he put on a few more LBs this offseason. So it's like, is he ready? That's a former top 100 recruit in the country, a 4-star going into his second season. Didn't play much at all. We talked about he had that jet sweep, tight end sweep touchdown against A&M, but that was sort of a trick play more than like, oh yeah, he's a staple of this offense. So
yeah, I mean, that was just part of it. Like I said, if they would have handed that ball off to you, you could have got the 2 yards for the score on that day.
Right.
And it was against Texas A&M. So
it was against the Aggies.
Everybody should score.
Yeah. So is he ready to take that step? I just don't know. Like, you're going to have tight ends on the field. So I'm with you. I think the wide receivers are better. I'd like to see more wide receivers and running backs on the 11 than tight ends throughout the year. But I just know how Steve Sarkisian operates. So you're still going to get your 11. You're going to get your 12, but it can't be predictable. It can't. We talk about this with Ryan Niblett a lot, right? Like, whenever 21 was on offense, the ball's going to him. It can't be a situation where it's like, whenever Spencer Shannon's out there, it's a run play, and whenever Nick Townsend's out there, it's a passing play.
Right.
Like, you've got to get you a girl who can do both. You got to try to find you at least one tight end. Hopefully it's two who can do both, to where it's like, no, they block, they're plus blockers, but also you can throw them the ball and they're not going to have it come off their hands. Jordan Washington, hammer hands, as you called him. You didn't really have that guy outside of Jack Andrews, and Jack Andrews couldn't block, really. So you didn't have that guy at all last year.
No, you didn't. He would have been better suited to stay where he was for another year, even though he's on a, he got to the NFL, but he probably been more successful where he was.
He maybe could have followed Fernando Mendoza from Cal to Indiana.
Probably would have.
Maybe that would have been the right choice. Yeah, look, Andrews could have come back. He ended up getting selected in the 7th round by the Bengals. So he's going to have a fight to make the team up there in Cincy.
Right.
He could have returned for another year, decided not to. He would be the number 1 tight end if he did come back. Like, we wouldn't be having these questions.
We'd be talking about a team that had it all. They would have been throwing the ball. And I still think, even with the guys that they have right now in the run game, this ball is going to be thrown all over the place. You got so many weapons, and if Wingo, once again, if that dude can catch, I'm not making that one of the things that I'm worried about. If that dude can't catch now, he ain't ever going to be able to catch, because the time is running out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For a wide receiver going into year 3, who, if he can't catch or be consistent with his hands, that they're going to see that at the next level and go, you got a nice body, but you can't catch. I'm sorry. There's a lot of nice bodies in the NFL that look good in the uniform, but if they can't do what they're there to do, they just move right along to the next body.
A lot of nice bodies in the NFL. That's why you watch every Sunday, huh?
No, I watch for what they're there for, and that's a tight end, a guy who's supposed to be able to, or a wide receiver that's supposed to be able to catch, who grew up catching from Pop Warner on, the Pop Warner football on. That's what he's supposed to be able to do. It's when it comes to inconsistencies in catching the football, I'm always like, how did you play this position for so long? I'm 6'2", I'm 215. Don't I look great? Well, yeah, you look great in the uniform. And as you go out there and get reverses and quick screens and you run over guys or run by them, but when you go for a 5-yard button hook and the ball hits you in the hands, or it's a little low and your hands they look like feet, that's the part that I don't get. And I think that is going to change. Because that is what's going to change this offense.
You're talking about Ryan Wingo, not tight ends here. Just making sure.
No, I'm talking about Ryan Wingo. And I think that is all changing this year. That's why this team is going to be so good.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about Ryan Wingo. Like, my prediction is he does clean up the drops and have a much better season. But I'd be lying if I said, like, I'm 100% confident that we're not going to be talking about Ryan Wingo's hands at some point this year.
Ooh.
I think you have to. I think you have to have that fear, at least in the back of your mind, a little bit. Now, again, I've made this comp before. Sorry for being a broken record here, but Xavier Worthy, they're not the same player. I get that. But Xavier Worthy's second year in Austin he had a lot of great moments, did a lot of great things, put up some solid numbers, but he had a ton of drop issues. We found out after the year he's playing with like a broken thumb, so maybe that contributed to it, but he was still out there. He was still not catching the ball as often as he should have.
Yeah, and Wingo's fixed his broken eye, right?
And that was last offseason, so I don't know how much that helped. But there were a lot of people like, what's the deal? Like, we know this guy's talented, but like we don't trust him anymore. There were people who were out.
You can't catch.
There were people who were out on Xavier Worthy. Like, that's great. He's fast as hell. That's great. He had this great freshman year, but all of a sudden he can't catch. Worthy heard that stuff. He clearly went to work, and he had a tremendous junior season and ended up being a first-round pick and is now getting things done for the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. So, like, that's the hope for Ryan Wingo. Now, I don't think Wingo's first 2 years were as good as Xavier Worthy. And then again, totally different types of players, but they played the same position. Both guys played a lot as freshmen, and then both guys had some moments in their sophomore years that just, it wasn't the linear progression and the cleanest progression that we had hoped. The hope is Ryan Wingo can have that Xavier Worthy year 3 where he looks like one of the best wide receivers in the country. And if he does, I'm with you. That elevates this Texas offense to a whole nother level because there's so many other good guys. And if Wingo's as good as Cam Coleman or better, then that's going to make this offense awesome and super hard to stop. But at least me, I won't speak for you, got to see it just to make sure that that's not a talking point for us at any point.
Yeah, year. I mean, the reason I'm saying it has to happen for him because from this point on, I don't think his career as a football player, even once he leaves here, because when you get to the next level, it don't get any easier. I don't believe.
No,
they don't hit any less hard. I believe once you get to the next level, they don't scare you. They scare you even more. The cornerbacks and the defenders at the next level of football. So I believe it has to happen this year, and I think it will happen this year.
Yeah, I don't expect Ryan Wingo to be here next year. Like, if Ryan Wingo is back at Texas in 2027, I would think something has gone horrifically wrong. Either he got hurt or he couldn't fix the catching problems and he has to come back to bolster his draft stock. Like, that's one of those guys who's been a 3-and-done player from the moment he stepped foot on campus. Sure. This is year number 3. I hope he puts it all together, and I'll wish him the best. I mean, we'll be talking about him at some training camp in the NFL at this time next year.
Yes.
Like that's my expectation. And I think the ceiling for Ryan Wingo, if he does all the things that we're talking about, he could be a late first-round pick. Now, everything has to be perfect.
No doubt. No, there's no doubt. You're absolutely right. Yeah, all the equipment. He's got the body. He's got the body type. He's got the speed. We've seen him when the ball is underneath his arm, tucked away, and he's running with it. There's not many guys that can handle that dude one-on-one. You're going to get kicked in the chest. He's going to run around you. You're going to get stiffed arm to the ground. He has all of those tools, BK. Yeah. And for me, if there at any point when the run game wasn't going, I would have begged the coach, dude, can I have him for like a week? I'll get him learning the running back plays, and I'll make a devastating runner out of that guy.
No,
I would have.
You want him as a running 6'2"?
Oh yeah, I would have made I would have loved to have had that guy. If that guy couldn't catch it, and I could put it underneath his arm after the way I saw him when he ran with the ball, you got to be kidding me. Except for these sluggos that they were running out there for 1.5 yards. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, look, they had some sluggos at wide receiver that they were running out there too. Wait
a minute. Didn't they have Lenny Moore that was wide receiver there for a while? Where did he end up going?
DeAndre Moore.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Mandy Moore who was actually playing wide receiver at Texas last year.
Wow.
Demo went to Colorado this offseason.
Oh, that's right. He's there now.
Yeah, they had Demo, they had Judas Dedston. I mean, not to dunk on those guys, although, Darth Livingston, I will, because of where he's playing. But despite the struggles with Ryan Wingo and the inconsistencies, he was the best receiver Texas had last year.
He had a year that a lot of people would love to have.
Right. He had the best year by a pretty significant margin of a Texas wide receiver. So that's the frustrating part. Again, it's Xavier Worthy deja vu. You know the talent's there. You know how good he is. It's not just because he was a 5-star recruit out of high school. It's because you've seen it. We've all seen it with our own eyes. So you don't get frustrated by bad players who you don't have expectations for. You get frustrated by the great players. It's like, dude, you know it's there. Just let's go. And this is it. It's a contract year. It's money time for Ryan Wingo. He knows it. You know it. I know it. The American people know it.
You know what? And he's got an opportunity in week 2 to compete against the best that's out there in college football. He'll be across from him again.
For sure. Oh yeah, what a wide receiver game that's going to be. Are you kidding me? With Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo, and look, you could throw Emmett Mosley in there too.
Yes,
going up against Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Inniss and that stud freshman Henry that Ohio State has. Remember that name, Chris Henry, the number 1 wide receiver recruit in the country this year.
They'll have a tight end somehow, some way too.
Yeah, like it's Ohio State. There's going to be, I don't know, almost 30 draft picks in the 2027 NFL draft on the field in that game. Is that too outlandish to say?
No.
It's maybe closer to 25, but if you talk about just future NFL players, you're going to have 50 playing in that freaking game.
Yeah, including the running backs. That's going to be that's what I'm saying. We got that this is a game for him to thrive in.
Yeah, everyone's going to be like, that's by far and away the biggest game in week 2 and game day and prime time. Like there's going to be scouts here, and there's going to be any scout that can't get in is going to be watching at home. Not just for Ryan Wingo, but that's what, look, they all know Ryan Wingo already, but that's one, again, everyone's Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman, Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman. Ryan Wingo ends up with, 8 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown, and looks really good against a loaded Ohio State defense. Then, hey, check out your mock drafts on Sunday, September 13th, and see where Ryan Wingo is.
Yeah, and we're not worried about that position now.
No. That's the position I feel best about, even with the Wingo stuff we're talking about, like top to bottom. That's the best position on the Texas offense for me.
Yeah, because we're going to find out about this Bishop kid pretty early. That's a highlight game. That's a game that Sark will have all circled for that kid to do something fantastic, whether it's a reverse or something special. This is the type of game when you talk about a talented player who's 5-star offense, unbelievable defense. This is the way that he is invited to the party right here.
Oh, 100%. Huge opportunity for Jermaine Bishop as I keep clicking the wrong button. Sorry for those noises if you heard those noises. Excited about Jermaine Bishop. I mean, we've heard nothing but great things about him since he stepped foot on campus as an early enrollee, had a tremendous spring. Saw it at the Fan Day open practice to wrap up spring. He was great. And what type of role does he have? Like, is he going to play in week 2? He'll play in week 1. You're right, 100%. And I think he'll play a lot in week 1. But is the trust already there with Steve Sarkisian and Chris Jackson in what is a loaded wide receiver room with a lot of experience too, especially with your top 3 with Coleman, Wingo, and Mosley? Is like Bishop that good to where he's going to be an impact player when the Buckeyes are in town?
It depends what he does in game 1. If he's consistent catching balls and making plays, he'll be there in game 2. And they'll find some special plays that are going to be suited for that dude in game 2. I mean, just like I said, he's invited if he does all right in game 1, which we expect him to do, he'll really be invited to the party in game 2.
Yeah, well, it starts with fall camp, right? Just making sure it's a continuation of what he did in the spring and in the summer. I mean, we've heard nothing but glowing reviews of Jermaine Bishop, so I expect that to continue. But fall camp's going to be important. And then what does he do in game 1? And then again, I think Texas might have 3 number 1 wide receivers. Don't sleep on Emmett Mosley, the 5th.
I think he made, to me, Emmett Mosley, in my mind, is going to be the most consistent of all. And he's going to be the one that the quarterback seems to find on big plays. And, I'm talking about 5-yard deals and not big bombs down the field, throwing them bombs. But when it counts, when it matters, he's going to look to him to make a catch and move the chains and move right along. I think he's going to trust in him. I think he'll have a lot of catches on his plate by the end of the season. He'll be up there as one of the, a guy who catches 75, 80 balls. I think he's going to be that guy.
Well, if he catches that many, then he might lead the team.
That's what I'm saying. He may be the guy. He may be the guy who catches the most balls. I'm not saying he makes the biggest of plays, but the plays he makes are going to count.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like third down guy, red zone guy.
Yes.
You could tell Emmett Mosley, look, he missed the first month of last season and he missed a bunch of camp. So it took a little while for the chemistry with Arch Manning to build up. But you could tell by the end of the year, that was a go-to reliable target for Arch Manning. So I expect that to continue. And yeah, I think Emmett Mosley's a stud. So you got him. You got Sterling Burkhalter, the transfer from Wake Forest, who has been very good since getting here. You got Khalil Lockett, former 5-star. You got Dalen McCutcheon, who played a lot last year as a freshman. I mean, it's top-end talent, it's experience, it's depth, it's speed, it's size. It's damn near the perfect wide receiver room that the Longhorns have been able to put together. So that's...
Yeah, I've got a feeling just McCutcheon, as much as we saw from last year, you'll see less of him this year with the other guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he played as a true freshman in game one at Ohio State.
I know.
So he had some drop issues, and snaps started to wane a little bit over time. But yeah, I don't know.
They trusted him early.
Right. It's just it's a first world problem. It's an embarrassment of riches that Texas has. And they typically don't rotate the receivers a ton around here. So do they change that because of the depth that they have, or do they feel so good about their top three that those are going to be the guys on the field 70% of the time, 80% of the time?
Yeah, I'm going to say there'll be 4 guys this year. Somebody will be added to the top 3. Somebody else is going to get that opportunity. I hope it's Bishop.
Okay, could be. They got a lot of options. They've got a lot of options to go to. All right, we'll get to the defense. Spent a lot of time talking about the offense and, rooms and players that we feel really good about going into fall camp. But what are our big questions about the Longhorn defense going into fall camp? Before we shift over to the other side of the football, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Our friends at Relax would love for you to come by their 2 locations. And if you're having any kind of problems, or before you start getting problems, if you've got a little bit of shoulder ache or your neck is bothering you, please go over and check out some of the accessories. Well, they definitely want you to check out the recliners, the zero-gravity recliners, the Tempur-Pedic mattresses, pillow sets, the whole works, the chairs. They want you to do that. But the accessories that they have for everyday use, folks, you got to go over there. And if you know somebody that's starting to struggle a little bit, hamstring problems, they're out there playing golf, and they're always talking about, oh, my hamstrings are tight. They've got the accessories that relax the back that are going to make you feel good. It's not always about the pain that you have been having, but the pain that you don't want to start getting. They've got that all taken care of at Relax the Back. As I said, 2 great locations. One is at the Hill Country Galleria across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from the Container Store. Do talk to them, though, about their chairs, about their office chairs, whether you're doing work from home or work at the office, because they'll let you take that Relax the Back chair to your office. You don't have to take it from the Relax the Back store to your home. Take it right to your office where you spend a lot of time. Folks, live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
Yes, indeed. Love Relax the Back. Also love audio-visual consultations.
Yeah, leave that at your home. Don't be taking that back and forth with you to work.
Your AV Consultations TV?
Yeah, leave that at the house.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't dismount all of your TVs every single day. That'd be tough to do. Look, if you want I don't know, you can put a TV on like a cart or something that you can roll around.
Now you're talking.
I've done that before, right? One day you want to hang out by the pool, but you don't have a TV out there. You just wheel a TV to the backyard.
Or Tom will put one by the pool. You know that.
Yeah, that's what he does. You don't need to be doing stuff like that. You can have exactly. You can have the nice mounted TV outside by the pool or by the outdoor grill or whatever. AV Consultations can hook you up. Outdoor TV setups, indoor TV setups, home theater rooms. They do surround sound too. Man, they can put a speaker in every room in your house. You could play the same song. You can play different songs. If the kids aren't waking up for school, it's almost back to school time. You can just blast some AC/DC in their room, get them out of bed. It's the kind of stuff you could do with AV Consultations. We always talk about the sports watching and, the TVs and all that stuff, but the sound systems and the sound equipment that they have is spectacular. All the toys to make your home a much more enjoyable place to live for you, for friends, for family, for everybody. AV Consultations, they've been hooking up Central Texas since 1988. Thousands of satisfied customers, including the 2 of us. You can be next. Seriously, make the call and thank us later. 512-255-8678. Or you can find out more online at avconsultations.com.
And of course, our good friends at Hat Creek Burger Company. You know what? Anytime's a good time to go to Hat Creek for sure. The queso fries, the great burgers that they have, and the wonderful shakes. Hat Creek Burger is a place, as I said, good food, good folks, and a whole lot of fun. And for the kids, when you go to Hat Creek Burger, they've got those playscapes, and they're big. Those things are nice. So if you want to take your kids over to the playscape while they're sitting around having a shake or some fries, you can do so. For adults, how about this? Margarita machine. Get yourself a little margarita there at Hat Creek Burger. Over 30 locations, folks, in the state of Texas. They started out right here in Austin in 2008. At Hat Creek Burger Company, there's something for everyone, for sure.
Oh, yeah, hatcreekburgers.com. Love the Hat Creek Burger Company. Also, you talk about having something to wash down a Hat Creek Burger with. How about some Altstadt beer? Excited to go home, just to be home. But also, I get to go back to my Altstadt beer fridge, Buck.
Sweet.
Does that count as a room? Can I say that's my favorite room in the house? The little
Sure you can.
Okay. I don't know if I can fit in there. I don't know if I've ever lived in there, but I love the Altstadt beer. You will too. If you haven't tried it yet, you're missing out. You're probably tired of hearing me talk about it. And I've been talking about it for my entire career. I'm loyal to Altstadt. They're loyal to me, but I love them. Their beer is fantastic. And one sip and you won't go back to the other beers that you've been drinking in the past. This is award-winning stuff out of the best brewery in the great state of Texas. Not just my opinion. It's actually been named that multiple times here in 2026. Go try the lager. Go try the Kolsch. They've got a Pils. They've got a Hefeweizen. They've got a great light beer. Their summer seasonal Peach Rattler. Their fall seasonal Oktoberfest is starting to pop up back in stores and on taps around the city. Go get you some. I'm telling you. And, hey, it's the weekend. Ring in the weekend the right way with the best beer there is. Please remember to drink your Altstadt responsibly, but also remember that it's the official beer of BK, and it should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Very nice.
All right, we flip things over to the defensive side of the football. Obviously, the biggest headline surrounding the Longhorn defense going into 2026 is out with the old, in with the old. Will Muschamp back for his second stint as the Texas defensive coordinator. We spent a lot of time talking about him, and we will continue to spend a lot of time talking about him. But as we continue our fall camp preview, Buck, maybe a position group or a certain position that you feel best about on the defensive side of the football, and then maybe one that you feel worst about heading into next week.
I don't feel really that bad about any of them, but I'm always going to worry about the defensive line. You know, for the last couple of years, every year I say, can they continue to do this? Well, can they continue to do this again against the run game of the teams in the SEC? Forget the SEC, week 2 against Ohio State's talented sophomore running back himself. And they'll have a good offensive line. Ohio State always does. They always find people they're like Michigan. They just find the next guy up to replace, whether it's a guard or a tackle or center or whatever. They're going to want to run the ball. They got a couple runners to do just that. So I'm always going to worry about the defensive line. Will Texas be ready once again for about year number 4 in a row? Is that possible? I mean, Hero Canoe and some of these guys, January, are they going to be up to the task? Because it's going to come at them. And you know it's coming at them in the SEC, but it's going to come early in week 2. And will they be ready to do it? So I still worry about that position. I'm not going to lie. I probably will worry about that position every year because teams always think that Texas is soft, even though they find out that they're not. They continue to try to pound the ball at the Longhorns and say they'll give in or give up in the fourth quarter. Can this team still be there in the fourth quarter with this defensive line? I worry about that.
Last year, Texas had its second best run defense in the Steve Sarkisian era in terms of both yards per game allowed and in terms of yards per carry allowed. They gave up 104 rushing yards per game on 3.1 yards a carry. I was actually better than the 2024 team, which, of course, played for an SEC title and won a couple of playoff games. The best is that 2023 D-line with Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy, and helped that Texas was playing in the Big 12, too. That didn't hurt their numbers, but that group was freaking gnarly, as we all remember. But yeah,
they had a rusher that has got them for, over the last couple of years where I worry about that position. When we look back, has there been a runner in your mind that has taken Texas for one of those 210-yard rushing games? There's not a lot of those. There's not been any of those, have there? I mean, I know somebody's had to go over 100 yards within the 4 years. Some running back has.
Yeah.
But there has not been a guy that's gone two bills against this Texas defense in a run game, have they?
No, I don't think so. Definitely not last year. There wasn't a team that went over 2 bills against Texas on the ground last year. And just based on my quick memory and looking at the average stats, I think it's been a while since something like that has happened.
Or anybody in the 180s or anything like that, right? Nobody's done that to them.
I don't think so. Not last year. Now, I do remember Jaden Ball at Florida, like just the first half of that game. He was
right. Oh, yeah.
Everybody on Florida was torching Texas in that game, especially early on. So that was one where it's like, okay, this is annoying. We're not used to this. We've gotten used to not allowing running backs to have big days against Texas. And that was a frustrating one to watch, but he didn't go for 2 bills or 180 or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
and Ohio State will try to get their young runner going. You know that.
Texas did a good job on the ground against the Buckeyes last year. They only gave up 77 rushing yards against Ohio State in that week. I mean, Texas gave up 14 points. They didn't lose that game because the defense didn't show up. No. The defense did more than enough to win. They just, you're not going to win a lot when you only score 7. So, the defense, I would love for them to replicate exactly what they did against the Buckeyes last year, because I just expect the offense to be significantly better for Texas, and that would be enough for the Longhorns to get their revenge against the Buckeyes. But, I'm
going to say I worry about that position. Yes, that's
what position? You're not talking about a position. You're talking about like an entire – I mean, it's run defense and pass defense. You're talking about 50% of the defense that you're worried about.
Yeah, I worry about that. I still do.
Why do you worry? You don't like the defensive tackles? You don't like the linebacker? Is there like a real reason besides?
I think more so than the depth of it. Do they have enough depth that they can go 9 teams into the SEC and still be okay in week number 11? Or week number 10? Where are they going to be at? Or if somebody goes down, is the next guy ready to compete at the same level or even better than that guy? I just always worry about that a little bit with the defense. And I've been wrong for the last 4 years. There was nothing to worry about. Dude, you're worrying about the wrong thing,
Yeah. No, you're right. Definitely the last 3 years. And Look, Texas, that's something I'm curious about with Will Muschamp. Like Pete Kwiatkowski, and a lot of this is on Kenny Baker, the defensive line coach. They rotated guys a lot at defensive tackle, especially. Keep guys fresh. Like, they don't want defensive linemen, those 300-pounders, playing 60, 70 snaps a game. They wanted those guys playing 40 or so, and Texas was able to rotate dudes because there wasn't a huge drop-off between the 1s and the 2s and even the 3s.
Yeah, just what I said. You're absolutely right. They rotated guys, and it didn't change what they were like. It didn't change their defense.
Yeah, so on paper, I think they've got enough there. I mean, a lot of the transfers that they brought in last offseason are back for this season. I think maybe some of that depth will depend on guys like Myron Charles and Josiah Sharma taking a step in year 2. Pretty highly touted recruits who didn't play a lot last year. But, Texas, they've got enough coming back with Canu and January and Watson. They bring in the big Ian Jaffrard from Arkansas. So there's 4 big bodies right there that should be pretty solid. I think what I'm most worried about from the run defense standpoint is not having Ethan Burke, right? Like, Ethan Burke was so good against the run, and you lose him. Obviously, his college career is done. Colin Simmons is very solid against the run, but like that other edge rusher, we're talking about that a lot from a pass rushing standpoint too. Of course, that's just overall is a hugely important spot.
Ethan had a lot of length. He had a lot of length. He got in the way.
Yeah, and he was just good. Like, he was right place, right time. He could shed blocks. He was a sure tackler. Like, he was awesome and made some big plays and some big moments and some big games too. Obviously, friend of the show. Maybe the most important part of Ethan Burke's resume. But yeah, like Lance Jackson or Zeno Meozulu or Justice Terry or Colton Vasek or whatever, all of those guys are going to factor in. But one of those dudes, hopefully all of those dudes, can prove that they could stop the run. Because I think early on, you're going to see Texas State and you're going to see Ohio State be like, yeah, we're not going to run at Colin Simmons. We're not going to like run it up the middle. Those D tackles are really good. We're going to see what that other guy's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, I think, if you're talking about like one element of the Texas run defense that I have the most questions about, look, it's fair to have questions about linebacker just because Texas lost so much from that room last year. But like, who is the Ethan Burke replacement as that other edge in the run game?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm all set with them when it comes I can't help but be set after listening to Chip talk about the linebacker that came from Pittsburgh. He just
Yeah.
loves it. I mean, it just, and everybody does. I mean, everybody in college football loved it. There wasn't anybody that didn't like that dude.
No, and Ohio State wanted him too. I mean, there were a number of schools that were going after
Right.
Raheem Biles, but like they were one of the finalists there, just to show you, how valued and coveted this guy was. So, yeah, I mean, Raheem Biles is the real deal. It won't be easy to replace Anthony Hill and all that he meant for the Texas defense during his 3 years in Austin, but you're hoping like Raheem Biles can be that face of the defense, that chaos creator. We're talking about a guy with 4 defensive touchdowns in his career. That's not easy to do for any position, let alone a linebacker on that side of the ball. So, yeah, Raheem Biles, I'm very confident in that guy being ready for the big time. The question is, what else do you have at linebacker? We've heard great things like Juice Cryer from Florida State. Chip was talking highly about him earlier this week too. That guy's a run stopper first, I guess, at linebacker. And the big question with him coming in from Florida State is like, is he good enough in coverage to be an every down backer at Texas, which we'll wait and see. It sounds like he's done very well in that department since arriving here. But yeah, like that guy, I think will be a factor in the run defense. And then how healthy is Anthony Smith, who missed the spring coming off of surgery as well. That guy ended 2025 really well. And he was one of Texas's best players in that bowl win over Michigan. Like, he's expected to play a big role. I kind of thought he was going to be a starter, and he still can be, but the way Juice Cryer's been playing, maybe he's got to re-earn that spot in fall camp. But yeah, you've got a lot of bodies. You hit the portal hard there, and even though it's a totally different room, I think you're going to be more than fine at linebacker.
Yeah, and in the secondary, it's just, the safety position. I think you got enough corners. I think it's how are these guys going to be in space when it comes to tackling? That's one thing that's one thing that everybody will look at early anyway. And you're going to get a chance because teams are going to try a lot of things. Ohio State, what you've done to them last couple of times you played them in the pass defense, can you do that again? And I think it can be done because of what Will Muschamp is going to do up front, some of the things that he's going to do, the types of pressures that he's going to use. So I think they won't have as much time. I don't think their quarterback is going to have. I know, the Bobcats won't have that much time, but will Ohio State be able to keep this group out? And some of the things that the defensive coordinator is going to do that's going to really help out the secondary. You got your new secondary, you got your secondary coach back. Plus, you got the guy from Rutgers. Let's not forget that.
Right. Well, he's been here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's been around, so he's got some experience now away from Rutgers, so things may be a little bit different. Yeah, but I just think Will Muschamp is going to be the important cog to this deal.
If you're asking me a position group that I'm most worried about for this Texas defense, I mean, it's the entire secondary, but more specifically safety. I mean, I've got some questions at corner too. I think Bo Masco's the real deal, even though he's new here. But you are projected to start 2 true sophomores at corner and at nickel. And now when you say 2 true sophomores, these are guys who played a lot as freshmen and played very well as freshmen. So it's not like you're hoping it's going to be good, but they are 2 true sophomores, and Cade Phillips will be going into his first full season as a starter. So those guys are going to be tested. I think that's safe to say. And then what do you have behind those 2 guys? And then safety, like who's the other starting safety? I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Jelani McDonald is your best player in the secondary for my money. He's a stud, no questions about him. But, it feels like most positions on Texas, you kind of know who the starter is. Again, left guard, you don't really know who the number 1 tight end is. So it's not everything. But, like, safety, the other safety besides Jelani McDonald, we've really got to figure this thing out in fall camp.
Now, the kid who reclassified, the kid who's coming, the big kid, it's 18 years old, kind of mature guy already that they talk about. I mean, you've got 2 other, but you throw him in the mix too. If he's good enough, if he's good enough, he's old enough. He's
a corner, so he would be, I guess, in the conversation. You're talking about John Meredith III, who reclassified.
Right. I got to throw him in there. So he's a depth guy, I got to believe.
Yeah. They've got that. It's anytime you're talking about a guy who reclasses, you're not entirely sure what to expect. But
I'm sure that if they reclass and they say, "Yeah, come on aboard," that he's pretty good.
Yeah, you have to be. And we're talking about a 5-star. We're talking about a top 3 recruit in the class of 2027.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't Sark was asked about that in Tampa last week, and he said, we'll see how long it takes to get him up to speed. Like, I don't know.
Did he say if he's good enough, he's old enough?
No. He's got different idols than you do. Not a Michael Jackson fan as much as you are.
Not a P. Diddy guy?
I don't know. You got to ask Sark about that, I guess. That'll be your question to him. He's good enough. He's old enough. Look, they'll give him the chance to play. Like, it's a meritocracy. So if he is all of a sudden from day one of the best corners on campus, then he'll be a part of the rotation for sure.
Yeah, because at safety, we've got some injury guys that we just don't.
Yeah, but safety, you're talking about John Meredith III, and it's like, all right, you've got a lot. You know who your starters are at corner, or at least who you expect to be your starters at corner. But, I mean, shoot, they moved a corner to safety with Kobe Black, I think in large part because they're not quite sure what they have at safety. And they feel better about what they've got at corner than they do at safety. So is Kobe Black ready to go? Is Derek Williams back to pre-injury Derek Williams? Is Jonah Williams going to be healthy? It sounds like he's going to be cleared and ready to go, but can he actually stay on the field? Yeah. And how much has he missed from not being a part of things for a long time? You got talent. It's Texas. You always do. It's 4- and 5-star players back there, but that's probably the position. That and the edge opposite of Colin Simmons are the two just individual spots that I think will have the most hotly contested battles in fall camp.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, someone says I have to have something to worry about. Not really. I have coached, so coaches like to worry about nothing most of the time. But, it's more than anything, it's about depth. It's about the next guy up. How good is the next guy up? And they seem like they have a lot of depth on all sides of the ball here. But the only one that we worry about more than anything is that offensive line. They have players, but are those guys any good that have to come in for somebody that goes down? Other sides of the ball, I think defense, secondary, linebackers, I think they'll have enough of that, BK, that when the guys come in, they'll be good enough. Offensive line, it's just like we look at it and go, I don't know.
Well, last year the offensive line didn't have starters that we felt good enough about.
Yeah, maybe that's what's the word. That was the worry.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about the depth questions, I think offensive line and secondary are your two biggest question marks there. And it's kind of hard to have depth now. I mean, so many of the young guys who you're hoping were going to develop, they ended up hitting the transfer portal to leave. That's just how college football works in 2026. So Texas isn't the only contending team that has questions about their depth. I'd like to get to a spot where you feel great about all of your starters, because there are a lot of teams around the country that don't have that. But yeah, there's questions with offensive line depth. There's questions with secondary depth. And those things are going to be tested over the course of a really, really long season that we hope Texas is playing in. So those are fair things to worry about.
Well, I'm going to put my mind to rest on the defensive line then. I'm just going to do that because I think the linebackers, I think they will be as good. And if they're as good, they'll be just fine.
Okay. So you feel better about the defensive line now because the linebackers.
Well, I'm just saying, I just think the scheme, I think the way they're playing defense is going to help them out an awful lot. It's going to help out. I think the linebackers will tackle better. But I think that because of the scheme and what they're going to do, I think there are going to be some guys, it's not going to be bone on bone. I think you're going to see some pretty exotic blitzes from the guys up front, some, twists and stunts. Yeah. We didn't see a lot of them. It was just over the last couple of years, we got big guys. They recruited big guys. We're about to roll over the guy in front of us. They didn't do a lot of twists. Now, they would bring some guys out of the secondary every once in a while. A safety would come, a nickel guy would come. But they didn't do a lot of line stunts. They didn't have to because they had big, beefy guys that would just beat the crap out of the guy next, across from them. And then maybe it's still the same way, but I think Will Muschamp is going to bring some things from Georgia because we saw those guys when they started to twist and stunt and move. Nobody would pick up the guy,
Right. Yeah, I'm fascinated with that, and I am fascinated to see how often Texas blitzes, right? Like you think of Will Muschamp, you hear the word aggression a lot, and you think, all right, that means he's going to be blitzing a bunch.
And you talk about A-gap blitzes and things like that.
Yeah, you go back like Will Muschamp's last year at South Carolina in 2019, kind of his last season where he was really in control of a defense. They didn't blitz a ton. So I expect to see a lot of that. Now, I will say this. Texas blitzed a lot more in 2025 than they did in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a stat the other day that in 5 games the Longhorns played in last year, they had a blitz rate over 40%. In 2024, they didn't hit that number one time. So they brought in more pressure, and I wonder if that was Steve Sarkisian having more of an impact on defensive play calls or telling Pete Kwiatkowski, hey, we got to bring more pressure, or not feeling as good about the guys up front, whatever it was, they blitzed more. So we think we know Will Muschamp's scheme, but it's been a while since he's really been in charge of a defense. So what exactly the twists and the stunts up front, the double A gap pressure? Does he bring blitzes? I mean, who was it? What was it? Todd Orlando was bringing blitzes from Hutto at times.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Like, dude, you got a freaking safety 20 yards off the ball when it's snapped, and he's not going to get there in time. Todd, what are we doing? Is it going to be stuff like that? I don't know. I just don't know. But I do know Colin Simmons is going to be moved around a lot more. That's something he told us at SEC Media Days. Like, there's going to be some changes to pressure schemes and what Will Muschamp tries to do, but exactly how that looks, we'll have to find out together.
Yeah, and having Blake Gideon back is a big deal too. That is big for them. There's a lot of comfortable guys will be very comfortable with him back coaching secondary.
I think the reason Derek Williams is still on this team is because Blake Gideon was rehired at Texas.
Okay, and Derek, get out on the field then. Time to get on the field.
Yeah, the safety play last year was just not good enough. And I had like this weird thought, and it was just a total hunch, and I never really dug on this to see if it was true. I don't know if I could ever find out if it was true, but the way the safeties played last year, it was like, I felt like Dwayne Aquina only coached the starters and just totally ignored the backups. Because the starters were good. Michael Taft was Michael Taft, and Jelani McDonald was Jelani McDonald. But like when those guys would miss time, it felt like the other safeties didn't know what they were supposed to do. It wasn't just like a drop. It was like the communication problems that we saw in 2023 and in previous years came back up. And it's like, are you spending any time with these players? Like, they don't know where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to be doing. Like, it was just a total disaster. So, yeah, hopefully we get more of the communication and sureness, probably a better word than that, on the back end of the Texas defense. Because if somebody was down last year, it wasn't always perfect when the starters were there, but if somebody left in that secondary,
you're horrified. Yes,
before the game, it was a disaster. When Michael Taft or Jelani McDonald missed time, it was a disaster. Like that, it goes to the depth point. You can't have that be an issue. Guys are going to get hurt. Your backups have to be more.
You're right. That goes to the coaching point. You need to be coaching up number 2 like you coach up number 1.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason. Again, I don't have any sourcing on that, but I think that's part of the reason why Dwayne Aquina was not asked to come back for a second season. We're all hopeful that Will Muschamp's second stint is it's much better homecoming than what Dwayne Aquina had.
Yes.
It's more important, too, when you're talking about the coordinator versus a position coach.
For sure.
No, all right, we'll take your thoughts. The Dakota text line, 512-222-9328. The YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch live chats are rocking and rolling as well. We will get to some NFL conversation. We'll talk a little Texans. We've got some Baker Mayfield sound. He is not real happy with his contract situation in Tampa. I think that's very safe to say. But before we get to the league, how about some sponsor shout-outs?
So our friends of our Woods Comfort System, 71 years in Central Texas, air conditioning, heating, and now they are doing plumbing. Trust Woods for your plumbing. If you got a problem, an issue inside or outside, they'll do a fantastic job. They do great job, of course, with air conditioning systems, and they'll make sure everything's working properly, especially during this heat wave. Forget the heat wave. It's almost freaking August. It's just going to be hot. And so you want your air conditioning working properly, and their technicians are awesome. They'll give you a certain time that they're going to be there, and they are there. They'll even let you know that they're going to be early. They give you a call and let you know that they'll be there a little bit sooner. Done a fantastic job at my home. They'll do the same for you. Woods Comfort Systems, nobody does it better.
It's impossible to do it better. I'm going to go ahead and say that. WoodsComfortSystems.com, 512-842-5066. The very best at what they do. Speaking of best at what they do, McCall Custom Homes. They're the very best custom home builders and renovators in Central Texas. It's time for that dream home. You've probably been thinking about it for a while. Everybody thinks about what their dream home could look like. Well, now you can turn your dreams into reality because McCall Custom Homes can make everything happen for you. Free estimates for Bucky and BK listeners. So if you've had some ideas or your lady, your man has had some ideas, like call Mike McCall. He'll come out to your place, tell him what you're thinking. He'll tell you what he and his team can do. And then boom, you go from there. Custom home builds, major renovations, they do it all. McCall Custom Homes, ATX.com. That's the website. You can find the gallery of projects they've done over the years. You'll see that they're A+ rated by the BBB. And maybe you can get some ideas for your place as well. Reach out to Mike when you're ready on the website, or you can call or text him directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Sweet.
Yes, indeed. Also, a shout out to our friends at Sleep Cycle Center, our guy, Dr. Chad, and his great team at the 2 Austin area Sleep Cycle Centers locations. Look, they want to make your sleeping problems go away for good. If you snore, if you have trouble falling asleep, if you have trouble staying asleep, if you're waking up a bunch of times in the middle of the night, well, you might have sleep apnea. You're not alone. More than 22 million Americans have undiagnosed sleep apnea, along with the millions who have been diagnosed with it already. It's a common thing, but it is a serious thing that you want to get taken care of. People lose their lives in their sleep. NFL Hall of Famer Reggie White lost his life in his sleep because he had sleep apnea, never got it taken care of. Don't let that be you. Don't let that happen to somebody you love. Free consultations for Bucky and BK listeners. And you mentioned this show, you're going to get $100 off an at-home sleep study from our great friends at Sleep Cycle Center. Dr. Chad, great guy, very passionate about his work, and he wants, again, to make your sleeping problems go away for good. SleepCycleCenters.com for more information. It's Sleep Cycle Center. A good night's rest begins here. All right, let's talk a little NFL here, Buck. You want to start with the Houston Texans, or do you want to start with Baker moneymaker?
Let's start with the moneymaker.
Well, he's not really the moneymaker. That's a problem right now.
He's pissed.
He's trying to make more money, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't seem super willing to give it to him. So,
what do they think his time is like worn out there? I mean, I can't believe him. He's got to be one of those $40 million guys, doesn't he? As quarterback, he's done really well there. I mean, he's not just helping them survive; he's helping them thrive. And in Tampa after Tom Brady, he's been the answer for those dudes. I don't know why they would want to piss that guy off.
Well, my guess is the Buccaneers would be thrilled to pay Baker Mayfield $40 million a year.
They just want one more year out of him for what they're paying him.
Bucky, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 quarterbacks that are making $44 million a year or more. So I am certain the Buccaneers are like, yes, we will pay you 40. I am also certain Baker Mayfield's like, to hell with that. I'm trying to be in the 50s.
Well, he's claimed he's never asked to raise the bar at the quarterback position.
No, and I believe that. I don't think he's trying to make Mahomes or Dak money, but Brock Purdy's making 53. Jalen Hurts is making 51. Justin Herbert's at 52.5. Hell, Deshaun Watson's at 46.
Well, nobody can get out of the Deshaun Watson deal, right?
I know. That's a different one. But like Jordan Love at 55, like guys that Baker is close to, some of them he might be better than.
I would say this. I don't know why he can't make Jordan Love money.
Okay. Well, that's probably what he's looking for. I believe him when he says he's not trying to reset the market, but yeah, at 40.
Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl ring.
I think he's earned more than 4. I mean, Daniel Jones is at 44 mil, Buck. You taking Daniel Jones over Baker Mayfield?
No.
Okay. So that's you gotta reset your own numbers, I think. We're talking 50+ million for these guys now. It's insane. So he's going into the final year of his good.
He's not gonna play. He's ready to go. He's ready to go to camp now. He's done talking to them.
He's been talking. He talked about it yesterday. He's at camp, but he's talking. He's telling everybody that the Bucs are lowballing him.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to talk. He wants to go and play football now. He's going to make them. Once again, that guy loves to have that chip or that boulder on his shoulder, you know.
Well, here's Baker Mayfield. We'll let you hear from him. He's at camp in Tampa, seemingly going to play this year, not holding out, not holding in. He's participating in workouts. He is still under contract. Here's Baker Mayfield talking about the contract negotiations and his effort for a long-term deal.
Unfortunately, it feels like I'm having to prove my worth yet again. When the disappointing part is, I feel like I've earned that contract, but it is what it is. And so for me, it puts me somewhat in a mentality of, all right, just go earn it again. And that's somewhere that I'm pretty comfortable doing. But here, it's not just me doing it. I have a great group around me. I'm really excited about offense coming together, our big boys being healthy again, and just the new additions that we have. So it's, I know the headlines are all Vita and I, but pretty soon here, it'll change.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play. I'm gonna stop talking about the contract, and I'm just gonna go play. And you're either gonna pay me or not pay me, or I'm gonna be gone. Because when Jalen Hurts falters in Philly, they'll come running to me for sure, which they should.
There will be teams that are interested in Baker Mayfield if he hits free agency, and I mean they could tag him next off season too. Right. So the Bucks are kind of in the position of power, if you will. Yeah, look, Baker's looking for his money. He talked a lot. I mean, he went on like a 5-minute rant too outside of that, talking about his contract situation and how he feels like he's being undervalued and lowballed by Tampa Bay. So, but he's going to play. Some guys would hold out until they get the deal. He's showing up. He's going to be there. He's going to play this year regardless. And like you said, and like he said, he's got no problem earning a new deal. And I think this is smart for Tampa, to be honest with you. All relationships can be repaired with money.
Sure.
Like having these conversations in Dallas about Dak, it's like, well, the Cowboys are really pissing Dak off by tagging him and, kicking the can down the road on this long-term deal. Then Dallas is like, well, here's $60 million, Dak. And he's like, man, I'm good. I mean, a more recent example was Myles Garrett. And I know he got traded, but remember a couple of years ago, he had requested a trade from the Browns. The Browns are like, here's $40 million a year, Myles. He's like, I love it here. I think I can win a Super Bowl here. That's what $40 million will make you say when somebody ponies up and gets it. So Baker's pissed right now. If he gets that deal, I think it'll be fine. But like you said, man, Baker's always thrives when he's got a chip on his shoulder. That guy's like the Kirby Smart of players, where even if there's nothing going against him, he'll find something to use as motivation. So he's got this as motivation. And Tampa Bay will be solid.
By the way, he's turning to be a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't have Mike Evans this year.
That's going to be different.
So it'll be different, but
he had a bunch of guys got hurt last year too.
Right. I expect Baker to have a good year. I don't think Tampa Bay will let him go. I think they'll find a way to work out a deal at some point. But yeah, some guys don't talk a whole lot. I don't want to talk about it. Baker Mayfield is being very transparent and open with his frustrations with his situation there. And
I'm surprised it's still going this far. Generally, I thought earlier in the week he said, I'm done with discussing about he's probably done discussing it with Tampa Bay, what they're going to do. But that doesn't mean he's done talking to the media about it.
Got it. Yep. I think, there were reports earlier this week that negotiations have stalled. So maybe
he just needs to keep fueling the fire. That's him. He wants to keep putting coal on the stove.
Right. Yeah, it could be a George Pickens type of situation where it's just they're not talking. They are done talking. They'll figure it out next offseason. Or maybe Tampa comes back and says, we'll pay you $55 million a year, and then boom, this situation is resolved.
You and I have never been in that situation. That must be something when that, I know as an athlete, you just go play. As a coach, you just go coach. But as a player, you go. And when you're talking about an extra $8-9 million when you get ready to go to practice and stuff, or get ready to play that game that Sunday, doesn't that have to be on your mind somewhere?
Yeah, I think. I mean, you're playing for a new deal, but the reason guys want long-term contracts is they could have a long-term financial security.
Right.
You're playing in the NFL. Every play could be your last.
No, there's no doubt.
You want to make sure you get paid and you've got that money coming in regardless. Now, it's not fully guaranteed like, a baseball contract would be, but you get a big money deal. You're signing a massive signing bonus, and that money's coming in for sure.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it's got to be weighing in the back of your mind. Shoot, man, like in radio, If I knew I was having a review or a contract discussion, we're talking about difference of a few $1,000s. I'm
You're
like,
right.
that's on my mind. I better have a good couple of shows leading up to
Yeah,
this.
that's hard to sleep on. And then when you get ready to do your show, that's hard to do. And those guys have to go play games. And they're talking about, man, if I throw 2 picks against this guy here, I'm going to lose $10 million. $10 million just like that.
It means,
Yeah, you're right. It means a lot. It's going to be on your mind. And you'd eventually like to stop talking about it and go play. But your play means a lot towards getting that. You're right.
yeah, big year for Tampa Bay. They're in that NFC South, which every year is a very winnable division.
For them, yes, it is. No doubt about it.
They got Vita Vea, too, one of their best defensive players, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He's also looking for a new deal going into the final year of his current contract.
And he feels disrespected.
He's doing a hold in. So he's there, but he's not working out. He's not practicing, and he's playing some hardball with Tampa. So, yeah, it's not a great situation. Again, these aren't just 2 randos here. These are 2 of the best players on the team that are looking for more money, and we'll see how Tampa Bay handles it. Another NFL headline while we're talking about the NFC South. I didn't think we'd turn this into a segment, but speaking of guys holding it, Bijan Robinson's holding in. He's looking for a new contract. He and Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, both drafted in the first round of that 2023 draft. Both of those guys are holding in, looking for a big money long-term deal. I would argue both of them have earned it. The Atlanta Falcons quarterback situation, Buck, is a disaster. Like, already.
I know.
Michael Penix Jr. is still not healthy from his ACL tear that he had last year. And they brought in Tua to be their insurance policy. Could you think of a worse insurance policy?
Yeah, no kidding. That's not a good insurance, that dude.
Like, yeah, I want a house that's going to last for a long time. I'm going to build it right on the beach in Galveston. That's the insurance policy that they had. Tua has some random back issue that has flared up. Sounds like you. He's already hurt. So they just signed Cooper Rush. And apparently it's Cooper Rush and undrafted rookie Jack Strand who are taking the first team reps at training camp right now for the Atlanta Falcons.
Brought in 2 left-hand quarterbacks anyway. 2 lefties. Now they got 2 right. That's just weird. And Bijan saying, I'm not going out there with those people.
I will pay you $100 if you can tell me where undrafted rookie Jack Strand played college football. The guy right now who's the #1 quarterback in Atlanta.
Cornell.
No, even more random. Way more random. You don't know this is a school. I don't know this is a school. I've never. Minnesota State Moorhead. This guy was a D2 All-American last year.
At Moorhead?
Whoa. Well, hang on. Getting Moorhead. I know there's Moorhead State where Kenneth Fareed went. This is Minnesota State Moorhead.
Really? What the hell is that?
I don't know, but I kind of like to go if that's what they're all about up there. Hang on. So I wish I love these guys. Egoless guys are hard to find. Egoless role players are hard to find in the NFL. Bijan's a superstar. I almost wish that guy had more of an ego to him where he's like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here. And he's holding in, but I think if he gets a new contract in Atlanta, he's going to continue to say he loves it there. He's happy there and whatever. So
Tua's hurt and didn't fall down and nobody hit him.
No, he's got a back issue that flared up before training camp even started. It's a disaster.
Well, maybe he fell down his steps at his apartment or something. He's not telling anybody.
Did he attend your fall school this summer again?
No, he's been okay.
Okay.
And then again, nobody's hit him in the head and he hadn't fallen on his head.
How does that work? Like when you graduate the Bucky Godbolt Fall School, is it like a one-off or do you go back for like repeat?
Oh, no, you don't go back for treatments. You don't go back for treatments. Once you're out, you're done until you get hit in the head again. Until that defensive end and his running back missed or was supposed to cut him down. He didn't cut him and he hits him right in the ear hole and then he's missing because remember, I'm not going to say never once again, because I'm thinking Tua, he would do it again. If he got knocked out, he would try this again.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
he's been told by doctors and I'm sure family and friends, like, maybe let's do something else.
The
And
last one was the time you were supposed to quit, not the one that's after the last one.
You're right. Now, he is a football hardo. He doesn't give those vibes. He doesn't talk that way, but like the fact that he hasn't given it up yet. I'll give him credit. Look, he's making a lot of money to keep doing this, so that's part of it, I'm sure. But
his next hit, he'll be taking tickets at the Dell Diamond for the minor league baseball games when people are coming in.
Wow.
Yes.
What a career pivot that would be.
Yeah. That's going to be his
scanner for a AAA baseball team. Obviously,
yeah, that's his next gig. If he gets hit in the head again and he goes out and he looks like he's in shock on the field, that's his next gig. See ya to he'll still be around sports, but he'll be taking tickets.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to Bijan Robinson out there in Atlanta, because again, we're not even at the preseason yet, and that's the quarterback room in the ATL. God bless.
And he's looking. It's time for him to get a new contract. It's time for they can start negotiations.
Yep. This is the first year where he can start negotiations for a long-term.
Why wouldn't you get that thing done with him now? Because he's not this. He is a running back. This is probably the last big one he can get. Give him his big one now and keep him there and make him happy, because after a year or two being at that place, you know what he's going to be like.
If I'm the Falcons, I'm trading Bijan right now. They won't, but it's the Saquon situation in New York.
Yeah.
Like, you've got an elite running back and you're never going to win with him because you don't have a quarterback. So instead of letting him walk in free agency at some point, or having to trade him a couple years down the line, once you really realize, like, we can't do anything with this guy, like, he's the best running back in the sport right now. He's awesome. He's in the prime of his career. And I do think he'll be one of those running backs who lasts longer. I just think he's that good and he takes care of himself to that level. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we know how running backs work. So I would trade him. I don't think they will. Matter of fact, I know they won't. But like, you could get a lot, even though he is a running back, you could get a lot and really start to rebuild your team. Cause right now you're wasting him. So, and I want him out of there. So hopefully they listen to me.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. We'll take your thoughts. The Dakota text line 512-222-9328. We'll get to the BBK news. Speaking of Atlanta, I think I have my new favorite player in the NFL when he does play for Atlanta. We also have to get to the body cam footage of Tony Romo's OWI arrest.
His job's not good enough that he can't have a few and call an Uber.
Tony Romo might be the first person to get a DUI and actually have his image rehabilitated. I think people like Romo more because of this than they did before this. We'll get to the footage as to why in a moment. Real quick.
Oh, God.
Sponsor shout out. Early Bird CBD.
Yeah, baby. Early Bird. Feeling good. Hey, from Tuesday, I played on Wednesday this week. I'm still feeling Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday after running around the golf course in that heat. Hey, no problem with my knees. This surgically repaired knee. No problems with my ankles. My back even feels great today. Once again, relax the back chair in the Early Bird. That Early Bird CBD does something. I don't know what it is for me, but it relieves pain for more than just for the moment. I know it does some stuff to other people that calms their nerves down. But when I think of pain, I haven't had to take BK. I've not even messed around with one of my Vicodins since I've been doing this for golf now. I don't have to take a Vicodin, which generally relieves that pain for probably a day and a half. The Early Bird's been lasting. Now we're going on 3 days, and I still feel great.
Early Bird CBD, whether it's pain alleviation, whether you take it to relax. I've got a flight home tonight. I will be taking an Early Bird CBD gummy. Probably, do I take it on the way there? I usually take it at the airport. Get through security, just pop one and relax.
Just make sure that the ICE people get you on that plane.
Make sure the ICE people get me on the plane.
Yeah, then make sure you get on that plane so that you're not detained at any of the airport.
You think ICE would come after me?
Yes, just be careful of your hat, your sunglasses. Yeah, they're probably going to let you go.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 30.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting story for Monday's show if I have something about ICE to talk about. I don't expect to, but.
Or are you going back to Sweden?
That's the country I look like I'm from. Sweden, Finland, whatever the widest countries outside of this one. And there are countries way wider than America. That's where I belong. Early birds, I don't know how. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take a gummy. It'll all be good. And, hey, You don't get detained. You try to, bring weed across, you can get in trouble for that. Early bird, this stuff is perfectly legal. You can take it with you on a plane. You can take it with you anywhere you go. It's gummies with CBD, but also a microdose of THC, but a legal amount of THC. And, again, they help me relax. They help me sleep. I can actually sleep on an airplane with these things. I can't without them. I love the Early Bird products based in Austin. Try some for yourself. You hear us talk about them all the time. Go get you some. earlybirdcbd.com. Don't forget to use the promo code Bucky. Type that in. You'll get 20% off of your first order from earlybirdcbd.com. All right, so we do have an update as of this morning in the Tony Romo saga. CBS Sports, according to multiple sources, has placed Tony Romo on leave until, quote, further notice.
Wait a minute. The guy has a little buzz on. He can still do golf. Can he get on with Jim? If they worry about him being around football players, bring him with Jim Nantz. Let him do some golf with him.
There you go. Well, he plays golf. Sometimes he's playing in those events that Jim Nantz is calling, right? Well, Tony Romo's been placed on leave. That's the first we've really heard from CBS since Romo's OWI arrest in Milwaukee last week. As of right now, during Romo's absence, and I don't know how long this absence is going to be. The season's not too far away, right? It'll be J.J. Watt. So we go from a Cowboy to a Texan. J.J. Watt will join Jim Nantz and Tracy Wolfson as the network's lead NFL broadcast team during Romo's absence.
Look out, Wally Pip.
So we will see. A lot of people don't like Romo. Are you a Romo guy in the booth?
I learned to it's all right. I didn't like it the first couple of years. I thought he was too much. He's calmed down to me a little bit. I like him. He's okay with Jim Nantz.
Romo, everyone loved Romo his first year. And then his reputation took a hit the next couple of years. People just stopped liking him. His shtick had kind of worn thin.
Right.
And it felt like to me, I didn't love him as much as everybody did in year one, and I don't dislike him as much as everybody seems to do now.
Yeah, I thought he tried too hard early. And then I thought he's just kind of calmed down.
Right. Well, my biggest beef with Romo is there are times he just doesn't sound prepared. When say what you will about Collinsworth, I think most people like Aikman, but I'm thinking of the other lead color commentators in the NFL. Those guys always sound prepared. I might not agree with everything they say.
Right.
I might think Collinsworth says, here's a guy too much. I think he glazes Mahomes too much. But, you could tell they do their homework and they're super prepared. There are games where it's I might know more than Romo about this random team, and that's not okay. So that's my biggest, I guess, beef with him in the booth. But, I don't know. I think he's funny. The sound effects are cool. He's unique, whatever. He doesn't bother me as much as other people do. But anyways, I think most people know the story. Tony Romo arrested last week, OWI. And now we've got some body cam footage that's out. And Romo, Tiger Woods, I remember seeing these Tiger Woods body cam. It's this guy is effed up, dude. I mean, there is no reasonable doubt that Tiger Woods is either drunk or on some sort of medicine or maybe a combination of both. With Romo, it's not as obvious.
Because it sounds like Romo, huh?
Yeah, the cop, I think he's probably buzzed, but the cop, I think, was being a little harsher than she needed to be. But we've got some clips of the body cam footage that are starting to come out from Tony Romo doing some field work. He had to do some field tests, if you will. And how about this one? Tony Romo, look at this. He's doing the deck. You think a drunk guy could be doing this?
No, my ankles would have popped.
I mean, he looks like he could play a game this weekend, does he not? Look at these moves.
What is he in his gym shorts and a t-shirt?
Yeah, I mean, he said he was driving home from the golf course to go visit grandma and grandpa.
Oh, so he just went in at the locker room and changed into some shorts and going to see grandma and grandpa?
I guess so. I mean, look at this. How's that? Like, he's warming up for the sobriety test that he's got to do.
Yeah, but he's got that look on his face like, hey, I just had that one extra shot of Jack.
And what about this one? Here's more from Romo. Look at these moves. He's got the dancing going on. What are they at? They're asking him to do a little river dance here. What is this? Irish river dance?
Is this AI? Did you find one of these? Where did you find this at?
Oh, I found this from look at the police body cam stuff at the top right. That's legit stuff here. Look at these. I couldn't do this stuff sober.
No, me and Tua would take a header right there.
It's some impressive stuff. So I think Romo's just fine. Okay, here's the real stuff. See, if our audience wasn't commenting AI, you would have bought that.
No, I would. I was.
You were buying that, dude.
I was not. I was saying AI.
That.
Nobody that's had a few that they have to pull over like that does all of that stuff.
You were buying that Romo was doing this.
No, I was definitely not buying him doing that. That's no. There's nobody that's had a few that can do all that stuff. That ain't happening.
That is, well, that's my point. He didn't have a few. He was falsely accused.
Oh, okay. Oh, give me the real thing then.
All right. Here's some clips. There's like 40 minutes of footage that's been out there. This is somebody else did this. I'll give him credit, but just sort of a best of, if you will, compilation of Romo at the car in the arrest and then doing some of the field sobriety stuff.
All right. How many drinks have you had? You're coming from a golf course?
I played in a golf tournament at the Wisconsin State Amateur.
Okay.
So it's like a USGA event.
Okay. All right. I'm going to run you through some fields.
Second.
Field sobriety test.
You need the gloves?
Yep.
I just want to make sure it doesn't too far.
Now he was getting cuffed. He said yes to the field sobriety test, which.
Excuse me?
Any head injuries recently? Any concussions?
Well, over the years, yes, but not recently. No.
Don't move your head. Eyes and eyes only, please, okay?
Okay.
There's balance here.
I know that was at least 8 or 9 seconds. By the way, I do this consistently.
Trying to schmooze the cops a little bit.
Did I pass this test?
You turn around.
No, I didn't. Can I use my phone real quick? Because there's a plane taking off.
You're
my
under
parents are
arrest
there.
for
Okay.
operating
We'll
while
get to
under
that
the
as well.
influence, okay?
Oh, she had to be the one to just give you, hey, you're under arrest.
Yeah. I don't know, man. He did all right to me. Didn't look too messed up. Didn't look too schlossed.
I don't know. Hey, don't drink and drive, Tony.
Right. Well,
that's all I can say. Don't drink and drive. That's
innocent until proven guilty is what I'm going to say.
Has he pleaded to anything?
Nah, I don't think so. But
no.
He's dude, the thing is, those field sobriety tests, Jake brings up a good point. I would fail that sober. I would fail one of those things sober. So trying to do that.
Standing up on one, what like Mr. Miyagi or something, doing all that stuff? Doing
that stuff, it'd be tough. So I don't know. There's Romo. We'll see what happens. We'll see if his career, he's making a lot of money. He's like $20 million from CBS per year to do his job. Part of me thinks they went out of that contract and they may have just gotten there out of that contract. People have soured on that dude over the years. So this might be their way of, hey, Romo, thanks for everything. Now we don't have to pay you anymore.
No, he'll get his gig back. I gotta believe.
I think so. I mean, look at these moves.
I was pulled over for one of those in in my hometown and had to do the ABCs. And then the guy goes, "Can you go backwards?" I'm like, "What? I just was barely able to go forward with my ABCs. What are you talking about?" That's what I said to the cop.
Oh, God.
Romo didn't, and he never threw in, "Do you know who I am?" Did he? Couldn't move on his part.
No. And I think the funniest part of the actual clip we played where she's like, "Have you had any head injuries?" And you could just, he paused for a while. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe that's like, I got to process. He's like thinking, man, yeah, here's a flashback to my 20 years of taking hits in the NFL.
Yeah, really.
I've had playing behind some of the Cowboys O-lines. Yeah, I've had some head injuries lately.
I've had a few.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I could be this dumb without booze, you know? I'll sleep on that.
My name is Romo. Can I now go?
Yeah.
He
didn't play that card. He was nice. He was respectful. And look, that if he was drinking and driving, obviously that doesn't get you out of that, nor should it. But yeah, there's the latest with the miracle, Tony Romo.
Wow.
All right. Well, that will do it.
It's a damn shame if you lose your gig over that. But once again, doesn't matter. You're always on the job, no matter what.
Always on the job, no matter what. Don't drink and drive, kids or adults.
Kids don't do that.
Or anybody. All right. Well, that will do it for a Friday program. Thanks to you people for tuning in today, tuning in all week. We'll have more NFL to dive into. Obviously, more Texas football as fall camp gets started next week. Finally, we're going to have like real practice. Talking season's almost over. We're at the real thing. We made it, people. And we'll be talking all about it all week and all month and all year long. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. And
you have a safe trip back, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Enjoy your weekend. And we will talk to you people on Monday.
8 o'clock, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Probably should mention that one final time.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, new time, Monday. 8 o'clock, 8 to 10, back to our roots. We'll mention on social media again, but we will see y'all brighter and earlier on Monday.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.